Yes, so that we can know exactly who you are. I want to say a big welcome to everybody, for everyone that has come in and joined in early. Thank you so much. I see Wisdom Messiah. Thank you so much. I see Favor Ebuselume. I see Joyce Shelu. Thank you, Joyce. I see, and thank you, Cherish. Okpeyami was here before, and she's going to come back in. Favor, thank you so much. I know that it's
Now I
a
know they see
hectic. Um, yes. So I don't know. iPhone, would you be able to mute your mic and rename yourself so that I know exactly who is on the call tonight? I want to say good evening to everyone, good afternoon, good morning to everyone from wherever you're joining us today. I'm so excited to have you in the August edition of Dr. Yuwa Speaks for Change. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to dive right in because today is a very short session. So I'm going to be sharing my slide right about now. So just give me a moment to do that. Right. Fantastic. Can you see my slide, please? Can you let me know if you can see my slide, Cherish? Can you see my slide? Thank you very much. So today we're speaking about from personal mastery to inclusive leadership. And the strongest leaders, they lead themselves because they master themselves first. So before you lead a team, an organization, a movement, or a community, there is one person that you must learn to lead first. And that person is you. But what is leadership? I've just run through some definitions. Every human has the instinct and capacity for leadership, but most do not have the courage or will to cultivate it. That's from Miles Monroe. Warren Benny says leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. You have a vision, you are able to translate into reality because you are able to influence people. Bill Gates said, as we look ahead into the next century, leaders will be those who empower others. And they say a person who thinks she or he is leading but has no one following him is only taking a walk. That's from the popular Chinese proverb. Kevin Cruz, who was a Forbes contributor, said leadership is a process of social influence which maximizes the effort of others towards the achievement of a goal. I say, and many leadership experts and trainers say that leadership is about influence. Leadership is how you are able to influence people to achieve a goal. So it's not necessarily about title. Yes, you may be a positional leader, that you have a position, and because of that position, you are the one in charge of a team or a community or a state or province, wherever you are. But true leadership is when you are able to influence people to achieve a goal. Leading involves the social and informal sources of influence that you use to inspire action taken by others. So if leadership is influence, how do you influence yourself? Leadership starts with you. You can have a title without leadership, like I've said. You can have authority without influence. You can have ambition without discipline. But when you learn to lead yourself, something changes. You become intentional. You are not just moving up and down without a direction, because you yourself, you are able to direct and channel your energy towards a goal. You become accountable. If you have decided within yourself that you want to do this, you want to take an action, you want to stop doing something, you remember that you have put that down as something that you want to do. So you are accountable to yourself, either with what you have written down or what you've put down as a goal. You now tell yourself, I have to do this. And then you become more emotionally intelligent and you begin to create space for other people to grow. Of course, anybody that knows me and has been following my talk here on Dr. Yuwa Speaks for Change, I will not talk I will not say anything. I will not lead a conversation without talking about social inclusion. So you must create space. In one word, what does self-leadership mean to you? I would like you to drop one word in the chat. In one word, what does self-leadership mean to you? I would like you to just drop a word in the chat box. What does self-leadership mean to you? In one word, I give you a few seconds, maybe like 10 seconds to do that. What does self-leadership mean to you? I'm waiting. Most of the people I see on the call right now, they are, at least I know some of them, they are leaders. So, but now talking about yourself, what does self-leadership mean to you? One word. It doesn't have to be a perfect answer. In my session, there is no right or wrong answer. Thank you. Discipline, cherish. Thank you. Awareness, titila your blessing. Thank you. What else? Thank you. Thank you. 5 seconds left. I'm still waiting. Discipline. I like that. Awareness. And we're going to be speaking about that. Okay, while I wait for the many people to think, because I'm sure you're thinking of what is that one word? What one word am I going to use? You can, if it's 2 words, but I'm going to give you some time. But let me move on. You are your first leadership project. If you want to lead, knowledge, thank you. iPhone, I'm waiting for you to rename yourself so I can acknowledge you properly. If you want to lead and have a leadership project, you are your first leadership project. Ike Lewis, I heard your voice, but I wasn't sure. I needed you to rename. Thank you. Ike Lewis of life. Thank you for being here. Celebrity superstar. Many people want to lead people before learning to lead the following: their time, their emotions, their habits, their priorities, their responses, and their decisions. How do you want to lead people to do the things I've just mentioned if you have not done this yourself? You must be able to manage your time, manage your emotions, manage your habits, manage your priorities, set your priorities. What are the things that you are putting as the top things you want to achieve this year or in your career, in whatever phase of life? And then your decisions. So it's quite important. The first leadership question is not who is following me. It is, can I effectively lead myself? And today I'm not going to be talking about being perfect. No, we're not talking about being perfect. It's about acknowledging who you are and then working towards becoming who you want to be. You need to understand that you may not have reached where you want to be, but at least you know where you used to be. But what happens between your past and your future is what you're doing in your present. Self-leadership requires 3 things. Number 1, self-awareness. Know your strengths, your weaknesses, your triggers, your values, and patterns. You know, I always say this: do a SWOT analysis. Sometimes when we're training companies, organizations, institutions, we talk about SWOT analysis. But as an individual, you need to do your SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis, they are internal. In fact, I don't have time to do that, but your weaknesses, your strengths, your threats, and your opportunities, you want to look at that. And then from there, begin to work on it. Number 2, self-management. Don't allow every emotion to dictate every decision. This is critical for us. And I speak to you, I'm also speaking to myself, because many times we allow our emotions to dictate our decisions. We allow the way we allow other people make us feel to decide how we react. Instead of understanding, whenever this happens, I need to know how to work on myself. I need to know how to reflect and respond. Number 3, self-accountability. Stop outsourcing responsibility for your growth. Many times we are always looking for people to take responsibility for our mistakes, for our failures, for our delaying ourselves and blaming it is because they did not allow me to go into that hall. That's why I didn't have access to the exam. Oh, it's because my parents did not have enough money. That's why I am where I am today. Oh, it's because the manager did not like me. That's why I'm not promoted. But have you thought within yourself, have I done the things that I need to do to get the recognition that I want? Stop outsourcing responsibility. You must take responsibility for your actions, for your decisions and indecisions and inactions. And like I always say, as a leader, if you fail to take responsibility, the results will not fail to hold you accountable. You can write that down. That's my quote. If you decide that you don't want to make a move. For example, in the first edition of Dr. Yuwa Speaks for Change in January, I talked about repositioning and resetting, and I gave people work plan templates. But how many people have been able to actually sit down to design their own work plans? This is August, the 8th month of the year. How far? My guy, how far? My girl, how far? How much progress have we made? But the good news, like I always say, is there is still time. You can stand up and you can move on. Your circumstances may influence your journey, but your choices influence your direction. Emotional intelligence is one of the soft skills, life skills that we bring into bear in leadership. Even when we want to employ people into offices, we want to be sure that people have that skill. Not like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. So on emotional intelligence today, we're going to be talking about master your response. Self-leadership. Cherish, can you help me mute? Okay, let me see. Okay, I've muted him. Master your response. Self-leadership is also emotional leadership. You will encounter difficult people, criticism, rejection, disappointment, conflict, unfairness, and pressure. It's part of life, whether you are a leader or not, especially when you are a leader. If you decide that let us sit back, they will blame you. They will say, this leader is very slow. If you say, let us move, they will say you are very forward. People are going to speak. But how do you respond in that situation? That is why you have to master. You may not always get it right, but what we're trying to achieve is that let's see how you get it more right than wrong. You cannot always control what happens around you, but you can develop control over how you respond. I hope you got that. You may not be able to control what happens in your external environment, but you can control what happens in your internal environment by controlling how you respond. And there's a proverb that says that you cannot determine how many birds will fly over your head. But it's you that will determine whether anyone will land on it and pour in it. So things may be happening around you. People may be saying things, but it's what you take in and how you allow it to affect you that will now determine if you have self-mastery. We are always on a journey towards, because many times we can't predict what will happen. We can't predict what one will say. And sometimes it may even be somebody that is close to you that may say something. But if you develop that skill of emotional intelligence, you get better at it. And then you always reflect. Always reflect. Did I behave well last time? Emotional intelligence is the ability to feel deeply without allowing every feeling to control your behavior. Now I'm going to talk about the response principle. The response principle, often expressed as the E plus R equals to O equation, event plus response equals to outcome, states that while you cannot control external events, you can shape your outcomes by choosing a thoughtful, deliberate response rather than an impulsive reaction. This is from McPeak 2025. The key concepts here: there is a gap. When there is an event, there may be a gap, and that gap is what we want to see how you can appreciate. A pause between a trigger and your action. An event occurs. Somebody says something, somebody does something. If you look at the equation E plus R equals to O, the response. Sometimes some people won't do things to get your response. How would you behave? I remember when I was in, I think it was 200 level or something. There was a guy, there was a copper. He was just an ad hoc teacher there as a copper in my department. And one other guy who was a student, I think he had some issues with his class. And then he came in with another guy. And of course, there were three guys now in that scenario. So the copper teacher, as it were, was there, and the two guys approached him. The main guy in question who had the issue did not say a word. He kept quiet and sat down. The other guy who came with him, like as if to come and defend and fight for him, started talking to the copper and started saying, who are you? Started throwing words at him. Started saying bad things to him. And the copper guy was not watching. Guy, now why are you talking to me like that? And why you? Then the other guy that was fighting. So let's say he's Brian. Brian is the one who came to fight for John, and he was talking to the copper who is Felix. And Felix was like, guy, why are you talking to me? And then Brian now threw a word of insult to Felix. Felix had not responded harshly before, but immediately Brian made that statement. First, Felix flared up and now insulted him. Now, Brian, who has been the one throwing words since, now heard Felix insult him and now said, guy, you didn't insult me, Abi. You didn't insult me. You didn't call me this name, Abi. You go here for me. Now, what happened? He had been putting pressure on the guy so that he will break, so that he will insult him, so that he will have something against him. Felix was trying his best, but at that point in time, he gave in. And then when he gave in, he realized what he did and said, now apologizing. He was already on the upper hand, but because he now finally gave in, that his reaction now made him lose everything at that point, bringing him to the point where they wanted him to be. So if he had continued to think about it and then go on to the next point where I'm saying the control and holding himself and saying, I'm not going to fall for this. I'm not going to now respond and react to the person the way he's talking to me. That situation would have ended. This is how many years ago. I still remember it. And I've never forgotten how that couple lost it just because he allowed himself go. Control, letting go of events and owning your behavior. And then the outcome, the final result, shaped by how you choose to act. So it's important that you understand that there's an event, there's a response. But between the event and the response, there's a gap. The difference is how you react and respond. People will always say it's better for you to respond than to react. But it's not just a difference in words, it's a difference in control. So I put a table here. It says speed. Reacting is instant and fast. Response is slow and measured, and slow and measured. And this being slow doesn't mean that you will wait for 500 years. No, it means that you're processing. I'll get to the next slide, and you understand what I'm saying. Driver, pure emotion. Response, self-awareness, which we talked about earlier on. Because you understand that I do not want to be a shadow of who I am. I do not want to give a wrong impression of who I am. I do not want to end up the way I ended last week. Because sometimes they push you so that they can hear you say those things, and those are the things they will quote. Focus, blaming the person that's in reacting, but in response, you are solving the problem. Don't allow emotion to reaction, to regret, to become your leadership pattern. Instead, pause, understand, choose, then act. Or in another way, emotion, when they spot that emotion in him, it doesn't mean that when people talk to you and how you not have an emotional reaction. It is how you now respond. Because people can say things that will hurt you, that will make you feel bad, that will make you feel sad. But how you now respond. So when they give you, when they instigate that emotion, you pause, you reflect, and then you respond. And if you look at the reflection is the combination of understanding and choosing. When you now make that choice, I choose not to flare up. I choose to respond differently. The essence of all of this is that we remind ourselves, even tomorrow, even today, when if I leave here today and somebody does something, for me to remind myself and say, I choose to respond in the appropriate way. Sometimes you may need to say some things that will make some people understand that the fact that you have not done anything doesn't mean that you are a fool. It just means that you are mature and you're respectful. There are different ways of responding in different situations. Now, from self-mastery to inclusive leadership. Self-mastery, self-leadership is not simply about becoming more successful individually. It asks, what does my growth make possible for others? As I'm working on myself, as I'm having that control over my emotions, achieving self mastery, how is it affecting other people? How is it allowing other people to grow? How am I making space for other people? A self aware leader recognizes that other people have value. Different perspectives matter. Everyone does not need to think like you. Leadership is not about occupying all the space. Influence should create opportunities. So, as a leader, remember we established that leadership is influence. As a leader, and you have influence over people or on people, you are also using that influence to create opportunities. 3 questions for inclusive leaders. Who am I becoming? Who am I empowering? Who might I be excluding? This is where personal mastery becomes inclusive leadership. Leadership begins within, but its impact should extend beyond you. The leadership repositioning. Lead yourself before you lead others. Know yourself. Manage yourself. Discipline yourself. Develop yourself. So know yourself. Manage yourself. Discipline yourself. Develop yourself. Remember when I asked for one word of self-leadership, some people put in discipline. Some people put knowledge. Somebody, so you see what I was talking about, that we're going to get to it. Awareness. Somebody put awareness. So develop yourself. So we see know, we see manage. Know is awareness, manage, discipline, develop. If you want to lead people, how have you developed yourself? How have you increased your knowledge? How have you increased your influence? If you don't develop yourself, why do you think you have the capacity to develop others? It first starts from within. However, don't stop there. Use your growth to create opportunities for others. Use your influence to open doors. Use your influence to open doors. Use your leadership to make spaces more inclusive. Because the strongest leaders don't simply occupy space. You're not occupying space as a leader. You are actually making space for others. You are actually making room for others. You are actually letting people know why they should follow you. Because when they follow you, you create space. You empower them. Strength of a leader is not in doing everything on your own. When you also empower people and you give them opportunities to grow, you are actually demonstrating strength. Great leaders lead others to become leaders. I promised I was going to talk about my 3 guiding words, and I used last year and this year. So the 3 go-getting words. Number 1, focus. Know what matters. Remember, we talked about priorities earlier on. You have to know what matters. You cannot pursue everything. Focus means knowing, what am I trying to achieve? Why does it matter? What deserves my attention? What must I say no to? If you just keep on doing everything, you are doing this, you are facing here, you will not have a direction. Clarity tells you where to go. Focus keeps you going there. It's important that we remember that, Because if you have something that you put your eyes to, no matter what is happening around, at the end of by the end of 2026, I must have done this. That's what I did last year. I told myself, by the end of this year, I named the things I want to achieve. I wrote them down. And so whatever happened, there were distractions. No matter whatever I was going to participate or not, in fact, some of them, I had to cut them out. I had to say, I'm not doing this. I'm not going here. I'm not doing that. I need to achieve this. You must focus. Number 2, consistency. Keep showing up. Success is rarely created by one big action. It is built through the things you consistently do. Consistency means showing up even when motivation is low. How many of us here want to do exercise buffs or gym buffs? My goal for this year is to exercise. I'm going to go to the gym, or I want to walk. So there was a time I used to do 4 miles every morning. You are very happy when you achieve your goal, but the next morning when you wake up, you feel like I don't want to get up. But so you have that moment, low motivation. But when you know that I've said I want to do this for 30 days, I want to do this for 1 year, that makes you get up. So when you show up, even when you have a low motivation, you have a low strength, it's because you have decided to be consistent. Consistency means staying committed when results are slow, repeating the right actions. Keywords: repeat right. It's not about the actions that are not leading to your goal. So if the action is not leading to your goal and you keep repeating it, you're not consistent in pursuing your goal. Building habits that support your goals. Refusing to allow temporary setbacks to determine your direction. Like I said, if something's stopping you, it's trying to stop you. It's distracting you or it's holding you. Remember where you're going to. Consistency turns intention into a pattern, and patterns create results. The third one, intentionality. Make your actions purposeful. Why? You have to be intentional. You have to be deliberate. I want to do this because of this. I'm going to do my exercise today because at the end of the year, I want to have dropped from 75 kg to 70 kg or 65 kg. So I must do it. I must stop all of this. It may not be fun. It may not be interesting. I have to reduce watching films on social media every time. If I need to cut it down from 5 times to 3 times, I need to, because I know where I'm going to. Intentionality means that you're not just simply being busy. You are deliberate. Intentionality means knowing why you are doing what you are doing, making choices aligned with your purpose, being deliberate about your time and relationships, creating opportunities rather than simply waiting for them, ensuring your actions move you closer to your desired outcome. Intentionality is the difference between simply living and deliberately creating the life you want. So my 3 words: focus, consistency, intentionality will lead you to results. Focus tells you what matters. Consistency determines whether you keep going. Intentionality determines how deliberately you move. And together, they transform your goals into growth and intentions into impact. So what do you need to focus on? Where do you need greater consistency? What do you need to approach with greater intentionality? Focus your mind. Be consistent with your actions. Live and lead with intentionality. The personal power check. I'm almost rounding off. Focus. Do I know what matters most and give it my attention? Consistency. Do I consistently do what I need to do even when motivation is low? Intentionality. Are my choices and actions aligned with my purpose and goals? Emotional intelligence. Can I manage my emotions and responses under pressure? Inclusion. Does the way I lead create space and opportunities for others? Which of the scores do you need immediate action? Which of these areas do you need immediate action, and why? My call to action to you today is, for the next 7 days, write it down. I will strengthen my dash by dash. It doesn't have to be exactly like this, that I will strengthen. It can be something else. If you want to improve on focus, consistency, whatever, focus. I would identify the 3 most important priorities each morning. Consistency. I will complete one important task every day before moving to less important tasks. Intentionality can be, I will make one deliberate decision every day that moves me closer to my goal. Emotional intelligence could be, I will pause before responding when I feel triggered. Inclusion could be, I will intentionally create space for another person's voice. My charge to you is, master yourself, create value, make room for others, lead the change. I don't want you to just leave this session today with inspiration alone. I want you to leave with a decision. Choose one area, take one action, repeat it for 7 days or more, because self leadership is not what you tend to do, it is what you consistently choose to do. And I hope that everyone, including myself, will be able to achieve self mastery and lead ourselves in the right ways that we influence ourselves and influence others. I am Dr. Yuwa. I speak for change. Thank you so much for listening to this session today. I do appreciate you for being here.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Yuwa. There is quite a lot to unpack from this conversation. What I particularly appreciate about today's session is that it takes us back to something that we can sometimes overlook in conversations about leadership. Before leadership is something that we exercise over others, it is something that we must first practice within ourselves. So one thing that really stood out for me is the importance of personal mastery, because we cannot consistently give what we have not developed within ourselves. So there is also the place of discipline, emotional intelligence. Leadership is not simply about knowing what to do. It's also about having the self-awareness and discipline to do what is required. And then also inclusive leadership as well. So a lot to learn from today's conversation. Leadership begins with self, but it should never end with self. So with those thoughts in mind, let's bring the conversation a little closer to us. We want to hear your questions. If you have any questions, your contributions, reflections, perhaps from some of the things that were shared today on the conversation. So if you have a question for Dr. Yuwa, kindly drop it in the question and answer box. So if you want to speak, you can identify and unmute your mic and then go ahead and ask your question. We'll take as many questions as time permits. Do we have any question?
I haven't seen any too. So thank you, everyone. Thank you. I'm saying this. Thank you so much, Ma, for this great teaching. Thank you so much. I want to say thank you, everyone, for being here. Don't forget, Jerish mentioned that there's an attendance link. Please fill it so that we can tell those who are here. And also, if you have things that we want to share with you from the session, we will do that. If you're not able to articulate your question now, please join the community group. I'll be able to take questions from there also. The community link, can you reshare it, Cherish, before we leave?
All right.
I had promised that it was going to be a 30-minute session, and we have just 3 minutes left to end the session. Okay, please, Ma. Okay, I see a question. Should I take it? Let me just take it. Cherish can join. You can post. My name is Lovett. I really want you to elaborate on how you can work on her emotions as a leader. So I mentioned that. Thank you so much, Lovett. You need to in the emotional intelligence, you need to master self-awareness. Emotional intelligence, we talk about self-awareness, we talk about self-management, we talk about empathy. One key thing that is important for you as a leader is that a good leader is that you must have empathy. You must be able to be aware. One institute had put emotional intelligence as being able to control your emotions and being able to manage the emotions of others. And so that's why it's important that you, as a leader, you learn how to control your emotions. I gave a framework and I talked about pausing. So, first of all, you need to know yourself. The Bible says, know thyself. Are you the kind of person that you react at everything? Are you high tempered? Are you short tempered? So, all of the emotions, there are good emotions. There's anger, there's happiness, there's excitement, there's bitterness and all of that. So you need to ask yourself at every time somebody suggests something that I do not like, how do I react? Do I react or do I respond? So that's why I say you need to do a SWOT analysis. You need to talk about your strengths. So the SWOT analysis is a quadrant that has S for strength, W for weakness, O for opportunities, and T for threats. SW are internal, OT are external. So strength, what are you good at? Weaknesses, what are you not good at? So when it comes to emotions, are you not good at taking constructive feedback? If that's something, you need to work on it, because as a leader, you can't see everything. Even if you have 360 degrees eyes like the Orson species, you can't see everything and you can't know everything, especially in every situation. So it's important that you understand that. So when people are giving you constructive feedback, do you see that as negative or do you see that as positive? Do you relax and think about it? Okay. And there's something that I normally do. There are times I just tell my friends, what don't you like that I do? Other times I tell them, use one word to describe me. That way, I mean, friends that are true to you, I don't just tell anybody. So that way they're able to give you the true situation. You need friends or people. If I get a mentor, one of my sessions, my first session, I talked about having mentors, having coaches, and having personal board of advisors. So they will be able to tell you the truth about how you behave. Then you begin to work on yourself. When you receive the truth and know that I do not react, I react every time instead of responding, then you begin to work on it. Then you set goals. And the next 7 days, or in the next 3 months, or the next 6 months, I want to be able to learn not to respond in the next 1 minute, to think through before I speak. I need to learn to be more empathetic. There's a difference between being empathetic and sympathetic. So I need to be more empathetic. If you don't have empathy as a leader, you're not going to be able to lead people and influence them effectively. Even in the workplace, we look at that as a core strength for being a good team player. So you just need to work on your emotions and see how it helps you to respond to people. Get constructive feedback and work on it, and then you see yourself grow. Thank you. Okay, because of time, I'll have to take this offline. I've tried to learn the art of personal mastery and self-awareness. This is from Titilayo. But I'm so inconsistent with myself. How do I come out of this? So have you set goals? Did you really set goals? Now, another thing you can do is to have an accountability partner. Like I said, you need to have an accountability partner. In the conversation I mentioned being accountable, but in this kind of situation, you need to have at least one accountability partner that will let you know that you have not worked on this as much. So that accountability partner works on your goals with you. Some people, there's some personal things they may not want to tell people. So sometimes they have their phones as their accountability, but in terms of using apps. So people that want to lose weight by tracking their food, they will have a food tracking app, a food app that tells them about the number of calories, you know. But for something like this, you can have an accountability that tells you that watches you and says that you didn't think through. And like I will always say, the best accountability partner is the Holy Spirit. I'm a Christian and I will not fail to mention that, because the God has given the spirit of man in the Bible says like a candle. So and the spirit of God dwells in our spirit. For not wanting to preach too much, I'm just going to say that you can make the Holy Spirit your accountability partner and let him know how sincerely you want to change, and be honest and be true and say, this is what I'm doing well. Sometimes it's because we are not true to ourselves, and sometimes it's because we do not now put that accountability partner around us to help us, to remind us. It's not to remind us to tell you that you have failed. And that's why the Holy Spirit is the best accountability partner. He will never let you feel like you have failed. He will just let you know you are a work in progress and he's there with you. So the Holy Spirit, get a friend, or if you already have a mentor that is there with you that will tell you the truth. The difference between working from yourself to getting to where you want to is understanding and knowing the truth and working on it. I hope that helps to answer your question. Any other question? No, you say, I don't want to give up on me. No, don't give up on me. That's the consistency. And that's what I talked about. Keep showing up. No matter what, keep showing up. Trust me, the gold Olympians that you see, they had reasons to give up. They had reasons to give up. If you are someone, like I said, if you're a gym buff, you wake up the next morning, your whole body, your muscles are down, are drained. But you know that I've set a goal. The Bible says that for the joy set before Christ, he endured the cross. He had to go through it. So don't give up on yourself. I believe in you because there are many things that I thought I would not achieve, but I have achieved them even more. And I believe you too, Titi, you can achieve more. You know, if you want us to have a conversation outside this, I mean, just hit me up in the community and we'll talk about it. Since there's no other question, and I promised you we're going to have 30 minutes talk, I would like to round up now. I'd like to round off and say thank you, everyone, from wherever you're joining us, and every part of the world. I say thank you for being here. I want to appreciate Ike Lewis. I celebrate you. I celebrate Titi Liar, blessing. Thank you for being here. Wisdom, Isaiah, thank you. I do not take it for granted that you're here with us, and you came very early. Osahon Iyawe, my brother from beyond. We grew up together. That's my brother. My brother is here. I celebrate you, Dr. Osahon Iyawe. Come on now. Osa, thank you.
Well done.
Yes,
Well
Dr.
done.
Osahon, thank you. Everybody's my brother. My brother from another mother, another father.
Well done. Well done. You did a great job.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Osa, I celebrate you. Thank you for being here as usual. Joyce, Shelu, thank you for being here. I celebrate you. Faith, you made it today. I celebrate you. Faith Ogechi. I don't know who the other iPhone is, so I can't see your picture. So just help me.
Thank you so much.
Okay, all right. Blessing Oko, that's my assistant. My assistant at home. I celebrate you, Blessing Oko. Let me hear your voice. Let everybody hear your voice before we round off.
Thank you, Mom. Thank you for a great session.
You're welcome, darling. And Favor Eboselume, President of the Christian Youth Fellowship Faith Arena. I celebrate you. Thank you for being here as always. And anybody else I cannot see. I know some people joined in, they left. Opeyemi Oni. There was somebody else that came in as number 2. They came in and they left. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Till the next session, keep working on yourself and being that great person that God has destined you to be, because you can be that change that the world is looking for. I am Dr. Yuwa, and I speak for change. Goodbye, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.
Enjoy the rest of your day, Mom. Bye.